Pat McAfee appears to be making some calculated moves to get under Stephen A. Smith's skin. And honestly, the timing is hard to ignore. If you haven't been following the situation, McAfee is currently in the middle of contract negotiations with ESPN, while the network continues cutting a significant number of jobs across the company. And those layoffs clearly haven't slowed down yet. By now, you've probably seen the reports surrounding Ryan Clark's firing, along with several other major names being let go. But ESPN is still making plenty of difficult moves behind the scenes. Now, with McAfee negotiating his next deal, some people believe he's intentionally making moves to remind ESPN, and especially Stephen A. Smith, just how much leverage and influence he has inside the network. Fans have started noticing McAfee appearing alongside the ESPN president, and as you can see right here, there's even a picture that immediately got people talking. And it doesn't stop there, because there's also video footage that adds even more fuel to the conversation. Pat McAfee showing up alongside Donald Trump is definitely another move that has people paying attention. To some viewers, this looks like McAfee sending a very clear message to ESPN and Stephen A. Smith. I've got serious influence, and I'm not someone you can overlook. And you won't believe why that matters, because Stephen A. Smith and Donald Trump have already exchanged plenty of public words, making McAfee's appearance beside Trump even more interesting, right?
ESPN commentator Stephen A. Smith, who was talking about running for president, said he would blame you if the Knicks lost the game. How do you respond to that?
I think he's a nice guy, but you need a certain aptitude to run for president. You need a high IQ. I'm not sure that Stephen has that. I don't think he does, actually.
IQ? I could say I put my IQ up against yours any day of the week. I could go one better. I could ask you why you've been running for me the last year since I wanted to talk to you. I could ask you to debate me, since you think you that dude, okay? We can go a myriad of ways with all of this, but I'm not gonna let you off the hook because none of that is important. I do appreciate the fact that you called me a nice guy because shh, don't tell anybody. But I actually am a very nice guy. Until you tug at me a little bit. And then after that, I gotta show my other side.
Now, you can probably see exactly where I'm going with this, because Pat McAfee clearly wants people to notice him standing alongside the president, especially after Donald Trump and Stephen A. Smith publicly exchanged words. And remember when Stephen A. Smith went on his podcast and appeared to walk back some of his previous criticism toward Kyrie Irving and Aaron Rodgers, particularly after ESPN and Smith were accused of pushing a negative narrative surrounding those situations? That whole controversy adds another layer to what's happening now, because McAfee's recent moves could be sending a much bigger message than people initially realize.
I had to go on the air. I felt compelled to go on the airwaves and apologize to the likes of NBA star Kyrie Irving or an NFL star like Aaron Rodgers. Because of the scrutiny they received, the assist that I provided in aiming that scrutiny or assisting in that scrutiny coming in their direction. Because the face of science was telling us, this is not wise. This is not what's supposed to be happening. And the level of dominion and control that he was having over the lives of American citizens. I'm just going to say it over the airwaves of Sirius XM. It was almost like it gave him a damn hard-on. That's right, I said it.
Okay, so I wanted to bring up that clip because Pat McAfee had Aaron Rodgers on his live show, and what happened next was something ESPN probably didn't want to hear. Rodgers took the opportunity to directly call out ESPN and Stephen A. Smith, basically questioning why certain major stories were being ignored while the network had no problem putting his name in the spotlight before. His message was essentially, there are important things happening right now and your own network isn't even talking about them. Yet when it came to criticizing me and dragging my name through the conversation, you guys couldn't stop talking about me. And honestly, that contrast makes the moment even more interesting. So let's take a look at the clip and see exactly what Rodgers had to say.
No, we can go
Not
back
yet.
to Fauci. Finish where we started.
Okay, on that note, you have a lot of teammates that are vaccinated. That's good heading into the season.
A lot of people had probably fake vac cards back in the day, too.
Not me.
They didn't have a problem with that. I mean, I remember seeing some of the vax cards. I'm like, it was like written in crayon. I'm like, all right, so we're going to pass that off, but we're going to be second-rate citizens over here. I got to wear a yellow armband, train in the back. Can't be around more than 3 people. Oh, you know, you got to wear a mask when you do your interview, and all of us are going to be masked up the entire time back here. We're 20 feet away from you because that's safety first. What a crock of shit we had to go through.
Crazy time. What a time.
Unbelievable. And we survived it.
Yes, we all did.
We survived it.
So, what you're looking at here is Pat McAfee giving Aaron Rodgers the freedom to publicly challenge ESPN, the same network signing his checks, and even take shots at Stephen A. Smith, which is why some people believe McAfee is making one thing crystal clear: he knows exactly how much power he has. He's basically showing ESPN and Stephen A., I'm the top dog over here. I've built enough leverage to move how I want, and I'm not afraid to make those moves. He can stand beside the president, maintain a relationship with him, and avoid the kind of public back and forth that Stephen A. Smith has experienced with Trump. Then you have Rodgers using McAfee's platform to highlight Stephen A.'s past comments and the fact that he eventually walked back some of his criticism. And that's a brutal look for ESPN when you really think about it. Fans are noticing the same thing, with many basically saying, we're not trying to hear those apologies now, because you spent years going after these guys, pushing a negative narrative, and suddenly you want to apologize years later? And the wildest part is that Rodgers can actually sit on McAfee's show and openly criticize ESPN while McAfee himself is still employed by the network, creating this unusual situation where one of ESPN's biggest personalities is giving another major figure a platform to challenge the company. At the end of the day, that tells you something about McAfee's position, because he's clearly not afraid to use his influence, and he's making sure ESPN and Stephen A. Smith know exactly where he stands.